Hey, I'm John C. Dvorak. Welcome to Generation X3, a show with three millennials and me. What it's got to do with Generation X, we're not sure. We're going to actually talk about that in a future episode. But let's introduce today's threesome. Andre Big Mouth Preston on the end, Dorian Douglas in the middle, and good old Eddie DeRosa sitting here on the end. And he's questionable for this group, according to people who've been complaining about the show. By the way, to get to an early topic, Eddie got a female's phone number today. It was a female, right?
It was a female. That was not me, though. That was a friend.
Okay, and so it came up in the conversation. We had to ask the question, when do you call the woman? And we have a woman here to give us the proper responses for at least this generation. Because in the olden days, you never had to call her. That was but that parent didn't work out for a lot of people. What do you mean, what do I mean?
Because there was no phones.
Oh, well, I wasn't thinking that.
we used to use smoke signals. So what's the rule?
Well, girls rarely give me their phone numbers, so I don't really stick to a rule that much. But yeah, I go straight to Twitter and I say, hey, I just got Sexy Sarah's phone number. When are we going to dinner? That works, right?
Yeah, totally. I love when people tweet at me. Like, no, that doesn't work.
So what's the rule? Why would you give some guy your phone number to begin with?
Well, I think girls give their phone number out because they're wanting a guy, just like a guy would call a girl. It's like
they want a mate.
Connection. It's
they
like,
want a mate.
It all comes down to mating.
But when a girl gives a guy her number, I'll speak for myself, but if a guy were to give me a number, or I would give my number to a guy, I would hope that he would wait like a few days before trying to contact.
He wouldn't call you that night? Hey, hi.
Dear God, I hope not. And first of all, like don't Facebook me, don't tweet at me, like just call the old-fashioned way.
After 3 days.
After a few days.
Hey,
but if you go on a first date with someone, you should call like the next day and say like, oh great, I had a good time with you. And
you have to call the next day, or could you put that off? Oh, what about tweeting that?
A day or two.
Hey, I had a great time last night. Wink, wink.
Okay, you know that whenever you get someone's phone number, or in case you give your phone number out, you're always looking them up online the next morning, right? I don't really do that much, but I mean,
are you doing due diligence? You got a smirk on your face.
You do due diligence.
You must be doing due
Well,
diligence.
how do you know their last name? How do you look them up?
Well, you can do a reverse lookup on the phone number for one thing, and you find them.
Oh, please. It's not like people are in
And another thing you can do, sometimes you just type the phone number, not that I know these things, but you can type the number into Google, and boom, half the time the number will show up with all kinds of information about the person.
Totally. Okay, I swear, this is what always happens to me. So, like, usually when you meet people, you're at a bar or something like that, you have fun all night. Always, every time, girl goes, hey, are you on Facebook? Writes my name down and friends me on Facebook the next day. That's how I meet every time.
And then,
I've never you
don't like call people, are you like a texter? A lot of guys do this now. Instead of calling a girl to be like, hey, do you want to go out to dinner? Guys are like, oh yeah, what are you doing? I'm sitting at home. What are you doing? Oh, cool. Maybe you want to like go out for a drink later. It's like, call
what's wrong with
the girl.
why do you have to call though? What's wrong with texting? I'll talk to you.
Because it just shows that you don't have the balls to call, like, or to have a
what
real
does that
conversation
call
with someone.
mean?
Well, to have a real conversation. We'll get to this in another segment about one of these articles, but we're losing the social ability if guys can't call to say, let's go out on a date, then
what about
What
about emailing? Somebody emails you for a date.
Emailing,
you don't even look at your email.
Too formal.
I think it's
too formal.
Too formal?
For a dating
The king would like to bring you to the palace. That's too.
I do. I think emailing is a little awkward for like if you want to like go grab a drink or like dinner with someone.
I think it's like impossible. How are you going to get their email on the one before the first date?
Especially when you're drunk. How are you going to write that email
I don't
down?
know how you got their email. Maybe you got it from a website.
Can I just ask why though? You can't just call her on the phone and have a conversation.
Well,
Like,
You could call. I'm just saying it doesn't really work that way. Like it just doesn't.
My understanding is that there is a bunch of etiquettes involving texting, and specifically on the phone, that once you start a text conversation, it's verboten to call because then you're breaking up the text.
I agree,
right?
actually. I do agree.
I've
Yeah.
heard this
If
from
that person
you
calls
start
then-
texting, you can never call.
Yeah, if
Oh, I
that
hate
person
that.
calls,
I
you're
hate
like,
that.
what's wrong? Why are they calling me?
Yeah. In fact, I do this. In fact, with the show I do with Adam Curry, No Agenda, noagendashow.com.
Which I'm going to be a guest on very soon, right, Don?
So once in a while we'll start a texting thing to tell each other about something going on because we have to watch things on the television. And one of us will call, the other one will go, oh my God, he died, or maybe he's in a wreck, or he's in an accident, or he's in the hospital. I mean, that's the reaction you get when you get a call during a texting moment.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
You don't notice this.
No, I agree with that, but at the same time, like, why can't a guy just call a girl and be like, let's go to dinner? Like, why is it all via text? I think it's awkward because when you actually finally have a conversation with them, it's like
they're texting. You know, we had Joe Ango on this show, and he's one of our guys on the X3 show. He has actually admitted to this, that he and his wife will be sitting at a table texting each other at the table.
That's weird.
that's miserable.
I've done
Yeah.
that when I'm talking about somebody. With somebody.
that's
Oh, yeah, someone that's
the
there.
back channel.
Yeah.
Any points
Great.
to me.
That's good to know.
I've never done that to you, Dorian.
All right, I don't know if you learned anything there, but probably not. We'll be right back.